Every seller has a story. I'm Georgia Mampanis, and welcome to our newest episode of the eBay Seller Spotlight podcast, where each month we spotlight sellers with a story to share with us. Our guest this episode has been involved in the trading card industry all his life. His interest in buying and selling cards led him down the path of e-commerce and customer relations, where he now owns one of the biggest eBay stores in terms of collectible card games. Welcome, Aaron Ottensman.
Hey, Georgia. Thanks for having me.
Thank you so much for being here on campus with us. Your first time?
Yep, first time. It's been an amazing experience so far.
Good. I'm glad. There's a lot to see and do here. The campus is big, so I'm happy you are making well's worth of your time. So let's jump right in. Aaron, what do you sell?
So we specialize in trading card games right now, specifically a lot of Yu-Gi-Oh!, a lot of Pokemon. We really like to focus on what we know the market best, and that's those two things. And we've really perfected our craft in selling those things.
Are you considered a Gen Z? Tell everyone how old you are.
I think I'm like right on the line of Gen Z and Millennial. Yeah. So I'm 27. So right on that line, 1996 birthday.
Okay. So when did you start selling?
I really got into Yu-Gi-Oh! In elementary school. All of my friends on the playground wanted to play Yu-Gi-Oh! With their cards that they got for Christmas or whatever. So at first I'm like, why would someone want to play with cards? That's stupid. And then one night I was watching TV and watched an episode of Yu-Gi-Oh! And got hooked. My dad's kind of been an entrepreneur all of his life, and he's been selling on eBay before. So he kind of took an interest into what grew into a hobby. He would buy collections on eBay, and, I would see all these awesome cards from there. He would take me to card shops, and that's really in elementary schools where I would meet some of my lifelong friends, and, even people I've had in my wedding recently that I've met as like a second grader, which is crazy to think. So just making those like lifelong connections and relationships, and, just really growing and playing the game as a kid, and then eventually getting to the point in high school where, I want to acquire new cards, but you need money to do that. So my dad kind of showed me the ropes of eBay and utilized his account to sell some of my cards and then buy more cards, and then kind of led me down the path of e-commerce and making new connections, new friends, just really building relationships. And that's kind of how we got here today in a nutshell.
So I'm just a few years older than you, but I also played Yu-Gi-Oh! So I'm just curious, did characters change throughout the years? Has it evolved a lot?
Yeah, so you have the original characters like Yugi and Pegasus and Joey. Those are really kind of like the bloodline of Yu-Gi-Oh!, right? So you have Exodia, Blue Eyes, Red Eyes, and kind of what Konami does is they'll rebrand these cards into newer versions of the cards, and they'll even make new sets where they reprint the cards, and those are really popular with more of the casual collectors, people who grew up with Yu-Gi-Oh!, where they can look at a new product and say, hey, I remember those cards. And typically sets like that do really well. So they really integrate what the original cards were and the original characters really well, and newer products as well.
I should brush up my skills a little bit. Okay, you said you started in public school. After high school, did you just start into that? Did your career path start somewhere else? What did that look like?
In high school, I did a year internship with a local credit union, which taught me a lot of customer service skills, talking to people face to face. I kind of broke out of my shell at that point, kind of being a little more shy in school, but kind of learning through that internship, like everyone's human, you can talk to anyone, get to know somebody, just have a conversation. So after that, went to college for a semester for business management. And after that semester, the 2016 year started, and I really wanted to see what I could do on eBay full time for a year, just nothing but trading cards for a whole year. So we dove deep into that, went to every event we could, made as many listings as we could, bought as much inventory as we could, and definitely made a lot more connections than I would have if I stayed in college. So that's kind of how we started, just kept snowballing, and now we're into a whole warehouse facility with 2 employees, and we just keep growing the business.
Wow. Okay. And so why did eBay get involved? They were all the selling platforms.
Yeah. So when I started really selling in 2013, my dad, he has a carpet cleaning business, and he was buying and selling carpet cleaning machines kind of as a side business, making some extra money. That was kind of like his niche thing, and he still does it today. At that time, I think TCG Player was just starting to come out, and he kind of showed me the ropes with eBay. So having the opportunity to start off at, a semi-established account versus making a new one was really helpful. And especially having him showing me the ropes of, hey, this is how messaging works, selling, shipping, that type of deal. That was a huge help. And just having the support, whether it's your friends or your parents, just really starting and kind of just having that support group is a big deal. Because without those certain people, we wouldn't be where we are today.
Okay, what kind of support have they given you?
Just anything from taking something to the post office to my mom retired from her job in 2013. So she would help me pack orders, and that kind of helped me scale like the single card business a lot, to, really using their 3-car garage to start shipping and receiving dock for pallets of product. Just jumping from that to, now we have a warehouse that we can scale and buy and sell more products it's just been a really crazy ride.
Amazing. And there's no slowing down.
No slowing down.
Now, another interesting thing, your name stands out to some people. So where'd you get your name Sassyotto from?
Yeah, Sassyotto was a name my dad created when he opened the account in 2001.
So Sassyotto's your dad, not you.
Yeah, he was the original Sassyotto. So in 2001, he was trying to make eBay username, and his name is Paul. So he tried like Paul Otto, it was taken. He tried Paul O, it was taken. Paul OTT, it was taken. So eventually my mom said Sassyotto, and then he put that in, and that was just the first one that worked. So we just kind of kept selling on our platform, and everyone kind of recognized us as Sassy or Sassyotto. So that's just kind of the brand we unironically grew into. And I think it's been really good for us because it's definitely like a unique name that stands out in the TCG industry.
So when you go to trade shows, they're like, yo, Sassyotto over here. How's it going?
Yeah.
You said in public school, that's kind of where you first got exposed. Did you have a particular type of card that sparked your interest? We got the Pokemon, we got Digimon, we got Yu-Gi-Oh! Is there one like, okay, this is kind of my thing?
Yeah, memory that definitely stands out is in 2004, the original Yu-Gi-Oh! Movie came out. And when you went to the movie, you got a promo pack. And that specific promo pack for me had a card called Pyramid of Light in it. So that was my very first Yu-Gi-Oh! Card. And what my dad figured out is you could go on eBay, and probably like movie theater managers or something sold these cases of 800 packs of the movie packs. So he would buy the cases for, a couple $100 each, open the packs and sell the set of 4 cards for $10 or $15. So that was kind of the first thing he bought and resold. And then Pete found that you could make a little side business on it, and I was into the hobby. So that's kind of how it all started.
So you have to credit your dad a little bit on this one.
Yeah, definitely.
Is he still involved?
Definitely not as much. But for example, like for our warehouse, he's helped with like a ton with the renovations and stuff. So he's definitely the backbone, always there if we need him. Yeah.
That's great. So it's kind of like a family business.
Yeah, definitely.
Obviously, trends and prices have changed over the years. So what are some major changes in the trading card trends from when you first started selling to now? And prices, of course.
The prices from 2013 to now, it's almost been a roller coaster, right? What I've noticed for specifically Yu-Gi-Oh! And single cards, the collector market really lagged behind what Pokemon and Magic the Gathering did. For example, in 2015, 2016, you could go to an event and buy the very first Legend of Blue Eyes, first edition Blue Eyes White Dragon, a raw near mint condition for like $40. And at that time, that was when PSA and BGS were starting to get really popular for Pokemon and Magic. But I remember like the community consensus for Yu-Gi-Oh! Was like, why would you grade your cards? That's stupid. And so just kind of recognizing like the trends for Magic and Pokemon, like people are really starting to get their stuff graded. Maybe I should try it out too. So, we would buy some of the older cards, get them graded. And then, just over time, the market shifted and the paradigm shifted to, wow, these cards are really old and cool. Or, other people that got into the hobby when it first came out in 2002, and they wanted to have these cards in PSA 10 perfect condition. So just seeing the market from there evolve into what it is. And then with the COVID boom, that really kind of took off the market. And obviously it's cooled down since then, but definitely the recognition, trading cards as a whole since that has been really good for the hobby.
And do you see it changing a lot coming up soon? Do you think prices are going to go down? Do you think it's going to go up? What is that going to look like in the future?
Yeah, so it's definitely hard to tell. Anything could happen tomorrow, but Yu-Gi-Oh! And definitely Pokemon very, very strong brand, and hopefully it just keeps growing, and especially with newer card games coming out too, and just more exposure to any card game is great.
So you have built one of the biggest eBay stores in terms of collectible card games. Needless to say, you are an expert in your category. What advice would you give someone whose goal is to grow their business exponentially as well, maybe even one of the biggest in their category?
I would say, from my experience, just building a business is to really target your niche and build your brand and your community based on that. Let's say, for example, fashion's your brand. Maybe you want to focus on one brand, or maybe like male clothing, female clothing, dresses, shirts, anything like that. Like, for example, there's someone here that just does suits, which is crazy to think that, there's just a whole brand and store just built on selling maybe secondhand suits or whatnot. So it really goes to show, like, meeting everyone here and just seeing what everyone sells, and you can really build a business and brand just based off your expertise or even passion for what you have.
And in terms of building like a community, where would you, trading cards, for example, where would you say they should go to help build that community?
For trading cards, I would definitely start at like your local level. So there's usually, wherever you are, there's a lot of local game stores. Just supporting them. They're kind of the bloodline of the trading card games. So as long as people have tournaments to play at and card stores to play at, there'll always be a market. Definitely bigger tournaments, maybe going on, for example, Facebook groups and just meeting new people. Instagram's been huge for our business and community, and just the people that we've met on there since creating our account and just talking cards and then meeting eventually in person at events. It's been really cool.
Where can listeners find you and your store online, as well as your social channels?
We're on Instagram at Sassy_Otto, and then eBay at Sassyotto.
It's your brand, Sassyotto everything.
Yeah, that's our brand.
Well, thank you so much for joining us today, Aaron. This is wonderful. And thank you so much for being on campus with us this week.
Yeah, absolutely. Thanks for having us.
Aaron Ottensman sells on eBay under the store name SassyTCG. Check out his store of over 5,000 listings, from individual cards to boxes in the collectible card game category. Go catch them all. We hope you'll join us on our next episode, where we'll shine the spotlight on another seller with an amazing story to share. I'm your host, Georgia Mampanis. Jim Griffith is our editor-in-chief. The eBay Seller Spotlight podcast is produced by Libsyn and Podcast 411.